Good morning. My name's Alexios, Raptor Freak. It's Wednesday. We lost to Phoenix. But like you guys are already here, Raymond and Tom. Good morning, guys. Glad to see you already. We're not that upset. No, we're not that upset. We showed that we could hang with the top team, and we were missing two starters, Gary Trent Jr. and Scotty Barnes. And you know what? I'm really, really happy with what happened last night for the most part. Part of the shooting problems last night really was the arena. And you could tell early on, both teams were having trouble. Like there were a lot of air balls and just having a hard time getting their hands warm because the arena was really cold. And that did affect the shooting last night on the down low, guys, for sure. Like before the game, I was watching Fred VanVleet and Mikal Bridges do shoot-arounds before the game, and Fred was missing a lot of shots in that shoot-around, but, then he started making them. But Bridges was awful. He was bricking every which way. It just looked like a tough arena to shoot in. It's already tough with nobody in there because there's nothing to gauge distance by. Like you need something to have perspective off of. And if it's just very vacuous and empty behind there, it's harder to line up your shot and make sure you have the right distance because you can't gauge distance very well. And then you add into it a very cold temperature in Toronto and in that building too. Like it didn't look like they had any extra heating or nothing. And it just looked like it was just as cold as it would be just normally, like on a very cold day. Then your shots are going to be flat and you're going to shoot bad. But I don't want to make too many excuses about this game because honestly, they fought really hard. And in the end, I think to me, it was really execution in some ways, but also, Phoenix did something weird with their defense at the end there. They really, really stopped Fred VanVleet. Like they did not let Fred get away or get anything going at times in this game last night. He had to really work for his shots. And, both teams did really good jobs defensively on each other at different times. Like, I really like what we did against Devin Booker last night. Like, he really didn't have a good game. They say he has 16 points, but he shot horribly. And most of his points came from being on the line, getting to the line and shooting free throws. Now, we can talk about that cover photo. Yeah, I want to talk about that cover photo and the things that happened with the Raptor mascot last night. That's hilarious. But first, let's talk about another guy who really annoyed Devin Booker last night, and that was OG. Devin Booker caught a case of the OG-itis last night. And he had it for a good chunk of the game. He didn't really make his first important shot until very end of the game when he got that little side shot and he nailed it, like just close to the corner. It was a two-pointer mid-range. And that was really the only dagger he had in this game. He was not killing us for threes. He was not scoring out of his mind. And I'm really proud of that. I think that OG did a great job tying him up. He really frustrated him for the most of the game. And then, of course, the Raptor mascot had his cherry on top of frustration for Diva Booker, as has been put here by Raymond Jacob and Tom Duke are already here talking about how he's Diva Booker. I have no problem with that nickname for him. Because honestly, he's going out with Kendall Jenner and she's probably rubbed off on him. And he probably is quite a diva. Like I've heard of other stories of him acting weird or being kind of weird in that way. But it's hilarious in the press conference after the game. Some teams do their press conferences with all the players all at once. Like I see the Bulls press conferences with DeMar and Zach together all the time. Well, last night the Suns did a press conference with Chris Paul, Crowder, and Booker, all three of them together. And what he said was, I was mad at the Raptor mascot during my free throws because he was doing the same stuff that Chris Paul and Jay Crowder do to him in shooting competitions in practice. That's right. The Raptor was doing what Chris Paul does to him in Suns practice to mess his shot up. And that's why he was getting pissed off. But you know what? It's kind of stupid that he got so mad and sent him away. We don't even have a crowd right now. We have at least just one Raptor mascot in there helping us, trying to distract on free throws. I don't think he should have been allowed to be sent away. I think that he should have been able to sit there where Nabadia usually sits and do whatever the fuck he wants to, because that's what our fans are allowed to do for the most part. As long as they're not getting on the court, we can do distractions like that. So I think it was a little unfair. We already don't have a crowd. So why can't we have our mascot be there and try and be our proxy for our crowd? There's nothing wrong with that. And I'm mad that they actually did send him away, that they should have said, no, he's a fan. He's a part of this crowd for you, you have to deal with him doing his antics during your free throw. I'm sorry. And there was some confusion whether it was the regular Raptor mascot or the giant inflatable Raptor mascot that was out there standing and looming over in the corner also. I thought that thing was going to get in the way of all the camera angles. That thing's so huge and the way it was lumbering around the court. But that was hilarious. Honestly, that was funny. That was a fun game. We lost, but you know what? I don't think any Raptor fan is upset at the team today or mad at them for what happened last night. I think that they did a really good job working and playing hard with the number one team in the league. They have the best record in the league. They're the best team in the league. I really do believe that. I don't think Golden State is that. I know they were saying that in the broadcast last night, and technically they did beat Phoenix twice out of 3 games. But I still think Phoenix is the better team than Golden State in some ways. And, their starting 5 is nasty. Their starting 5 is nasty. That Crowder guy killed us last night. All the threes he was hitting, and just like he was just being a baller out there and taking over the game. It was Jay Crowder who was the most deadly son last night to me. And Ayton didn't look sharp. We were controlling him. I love the stuff that was going on with Ayton and Chris Booker last night. I mean, Chris Boucher last night. I should have said Booker. Diva Booker, sorry. But yeah, Chris Boucher last night, oh my gosh. This dude is really channeling his inner Rodman. He even said it straight up in the press conference after. I've been watching Dennis Rodman clips. I identify with his energy and his personal journey. As in life, he identifies with Dennis Rodman and what he had went through in his career, and now he's channeling him. And not only is it's the offensive rebounds, obviously that's very Rodman-esque, but there's 2 other things he did last night that were super Rodman-esque that maybe the most people didn't catch. And one of them was that one play when they were under the basket and he had the wherewithal to throw the ball off Ayton's leg when they were going out of bounds. That's totally a Dennis Rodman hustle play, going after a loose ball, throwing it off the other player and keeping our possession. And I love that. That was exactly like what Rodman would do. The other thing he was doing last night that's very Dennis Rodman is he was drawing fouls on Ayton just from rebounding positioning. Yeah. See, Dennis was a master at being really annoying, like getting up underneath and getting positioning on other guys. And he'd do it in a way that was so annoying to the other guys that they foul him and they get in foul trouble. Think about Seattle Supersonics versus Chicago Bulls finals, Frank Brakowski and Dennis Rodman. The work that Dennis did in that series against Frank Brakowski, getting him completely out of the game was a mastermind. He was a mastermind. He frustrated him, pissed him off so much that he got tossed from that game, Frank Brakowski. So Dennis, I should say Dennis, but I said Chris. Chris was doing some of that kind of stuff last night to Ayton. And I love it because he'd weasel in and get in between him and the basket. And then all of a sudden, Ayton would swing his arms and he'd hit him. And then all of a sudden, it was a foul on Ayton. And those are only good things that can happen. So seriously, Chris, keep going in this direction. Keep watching the Dennis Rodman stuff. Keep getting that attitude because it's not only the hustle and the aggressiveness on the boards and getting the bounce. It's about being fearless. It's about getting in the face of any single one player in this league and not being afraid of them to mix it up with them. And if he's going to do that, well, he may have a tall order because of his weight compared to some of these guys. But I'll totally stand behind him because honestly, that no fear kind of mentality is going to take him far. Because in some ways, the intimidation of big guys down low, if he's quicker and faster and longer and can get around them and steal rebounds from them, he is going to frustrate them. And he may be a weapon in the playoffs eventually where he could do this on purpose and actually play some mind games with the other players on the other team. That's what Dennis did. That was one of the X factors he brought to the Chicago Bulls and the Detroit Pistons, the San Antonio Spurs, was that he got under people's skin. So, Chris, if you want to start being a pest to other teams in that kind of way where you're pissing them off because you're just everywhere and they're throwing elbows and they're getting called for fouls because you're getting in that good position because you're hustling, go for it, man. Keep going in this direction. What a great birthday for you, man. How many rebounds did he get? He got let's see. He got 16 rebounds last night. 9 of them were offensive and 13 points, a double-double. That's a very Rodman line. And honestly, that's better than his game where he had like 30 points and 19 rebounds. I think the game that I keep saying Rodman, that Boucher played last night was better than his game recently where he got 28 points, 19 rebounds. I really do believe that. He played harder and he didn't get as many stats, but he was so phenomenal in some ways. There was that one lineup in the game last night where they had Champagny, Achua, and Boucher out there. You know what I'm talking about. When they were all crashing the boards, that was nasty. Like these guys are all three of them are super great offensive rebounders. And when you see all three of them crashing in there and battling, like that little sequence where they got like 4 possessions for the team. Yeah, they shot, they missed, they got the rebound, threw it out. Shot, they missed, they got the rebound, threw it out. Shot, they missed, got the rebound, threw it out. They got 4 possessions on one time down the lane, down the court because of these offensive rebounders that were just going crazy, and it was like a feeding frenzy. It was like they were piranha, and you just threw like a cow in the Amazon or something like that, all over the glass, and like there wasn't anything you could do about it because there were 3 different kind of personalities of rebounding. You had that Chris Boucher, I'm going to slither in here and get in between you in the basket and use my length and do some Dennis Rodman stuff. Then you had Justin Champagny, who's this sneaky guy on the baseline who somehow pulls the ball to the side and gets it over really taller guys, like this little dog in the big fight. And then you have just pure ferocious physical mentality. I'm going to body and strength you to get to the basket and get the ball. Precious Achua. And those are 3 different kinds of offensive rebounding looks. And they were so funny and interesting to see them all working at once to do it. And man, did that kind of energy and hustle and work in there, you see what it gets. How many times it gets more shots for them. And this is the thing. We can't shoot this bad. This is a weird game last night because we lost by 4, but we absolutely shat the bed with our shooting last night. Our regular shooting was actually the best thing we did last night, but our free throw shooting and our 3-point shooting was absolute garbage last night. I'm not even mad. They missed 10 free throws last night. If they made those 10 free throws, there you go. That's part of it. Like the game before, they played so well with the shooting the free throws that in this game, it was so awful. And I was like, man, I hope we don't lose a close game. And these free throws are something that really mattered during the game. And they were. And if we had hit them, yeah, we might have won last night. But it's just how it happened. We had a bad free throw shooting night, and that was really bad. And that's something that we can yell at the guys about. Like, y'all need to make your free throws. Because honestly, that was 10 missed free throws, and shooting 60% from the line is not good. Is not good. And that could have been the game exactly right there. All right, I'm going to catch up with what you guys are saying. Yeah, I really love the cover photo this morning. The whole thing with Devin Booker and the Raptor last night is going to go into the folklore of the Raptors, like history. The fact that this happened with an empty arena and with the Raptor doing what he did, fantastic stuff. The Raptor is honestly, I said this yesterday. If you take any head coach, any president of the team, I would take our guys any day, Masai Ujiri and Nick Nurse. Well, I would take the Raptor any day as our mascot. Because listen, on the download, the Raptor is one of the best mascots in the NBA because he's an acrobat. He's able to do so many amazing things physically as an athlete. And this is the same dude who's been doing this for 27 years. They haven't switched the Raptor. He's the original Raptor from 1995. And the fact that 27 years in, so you got to figure he's got to be up there with me, around my age, or maybe even older than me. And the fact that he physically can do some of the stuff that he still does at his age right now, middle age, is amazing. And honestly, I feel like he's the best mascot in the NBA. When you get pure comedic talent and just like his sense of humor and what he does interacting with the crowd, and then the really good quality halftime entertainment kind of stupid things that he does, whether it's his crazy dunks or dumping a brand new TV down the stairs like by accident, like. Honestly, the Raptors the best mascot in the NBA, and he is in the NBA, the Mascot Hall of Fame now, and he totally deserves it. He is a Hall of Fame mascot. He got in there, and man, I'm so happy and proud that he is on our team. I will pick him over all of them. You give me the San Antonio Coyote, the Phoenix Gorilla. You give me all these, match them up against the Raptor, I always pick the Raptor because he's just hilarious. And he's an amazing athlete. And he's the dude who's been with the team since the very beginning. This is the same dude, guys. I know because I know somebody who knows him. And she used to work at the Mascot place where she sells mascot uniforms. Like she would sell to grocery stores Tony the Tiger uniforms so they could have Tony the Tiger come and be at a grocery store opening or something like that. So she used to sell stuff to the Raptor, like new little outfits like he would wear. Like if it's St. Patrick's Day and he had to need to have a little green hat and a little green vest, he would come to her company and sell him that stuff. And he was going to hook us up with some tickets at one point. This is somebody I dated like in 2014 that worked for a mascot company. And she was telling me all these stories about the real dude, the Raptor, and what he was like because she met him a bunch of times. So, but he's a really, really amazing athlete. And like I said, he's getting up there and he still does all the physical kind of stuff, the acrobatics, standing on his hands and all that kind of stuff. So it's really proud of the Raptor last night. He was definitely the 13th man on the court for the Raptors last night. He was the crowd. All right, yeah, you guys are calling Devin Booker. Yeah, sure. He does have kind of a weird attitude, but I really love how we tied him up really well. Him being a little bit shorter for a guard, like 6'5", putting OG on him, you could really tie him up really well. And he did. He got a strong case of OG-itis last night. I mean, if we look at what Booker shot last night, he shot 4 for 13, 2 of 7 from 3. That's not a good night for him. 16 points. That's not a good night for Booker. He did not go off, and we held him in check. All right, let's see. All right, yeah, what a funny spoiled brat, Devin Booker, related to Boogie Cousins. All right, let me keep going. You guys have already put in some work here, I see. Let's see. Tom Duke saying, Detroit got spanked last night, and we are going to put another one on them Friday. Yes, the next game. Already looking forward, Tom. I love that. Yeah, the next 2 games are back-to-back on the road. We're going on the road for a 5-game stretch coming up here. And my goal looking at it was I want to get 3 out of the 5. These aren't going to be easy ones. These ones are coming up. Detroit's going to be the easiest one on this trip, the first one. So we definitely need to nail that one down. But then, it's Milwaukee the very next night on Saturday. And next week we go and see Dallas. And we're also going to see Miami on this road trip. So we're going to have to go down and see Kyle down in Miami next week, guys. Not that long from now, we'll get to see Lowry against us for the first time. And, it's going to be a tough trip. If we can get 3 out of the 5, I'll be very happy with this trip. I want to get 3. If we can get 4, that's even better. But I want to get 3 for sure, just to keep this winning going. Because, this loss last night, this is our first loss in 8 games or 7 games or something like that. That's really good. That's really, really good. So, birthday Boucher. Yeah, he was fantastic. I'm honestly, if he wants to become like Dennis Rodman now, today in this league's today's Dennis Rodman, he's going to be my favorite player, favorite Raptor. Chris Boucher is going to become my favorite Raptor. My favorite Raptor is really Fred VanVleet right now. He has been for a couple of years. But if Chris is going to start doing the dirty work and emulating Dennis Rodman and all these games that he's playing, Dennis is my favorite player. I've always loved the style of play that Dennis Rodman played, whether it was the psychological stuff I was just talking about with Frank Bukowski or just the hustle, hard work, athleticism that he showed getting his rebounds and doing what he would do. This guy wanted to get 20 rebounds. He didn't care about 20 points. So, Chris, if you're going to keep doing this, you're going to be number 1 on my list for my favorite Raptor presently. Oh, yeah. It's Fred right now, but you're rising quick, buddy. Oh, yeah, you are. Let's keep going. Tom Duke, Suns treated Fred like he was Steph. Yeah, he did. Monty Williams said Fred is playing like the best guard in the East. Not only that, Monty Williams said that Fred's the best player in the East right now. That's what Monty said. He said that he's the best player, not the best guard. Best player in the East right now. And he is kind of right in some ways. It's just, last night they had some success really guarding him. Chris Paul's such a smart player. They were sending different guys at him at different times. Like Bridges would come and guard him. And when you have that kind of more length on him, you can really kind of control him. And I mean, Fred had a decent game already still. Like, he didn't shoot horrible. He got 7 for 18. That's not bad. 4 for 10 from three-pointer, 21 points, 5 assists. He could have had a better game, obviously. And the fact that him and OG were the only 2 guys on the team that hit threes last night, that's really bad. That's really bad. Like, both of them got 4 each, 8 altogether, 3-pointers for us last night. Pascal was 0 for 5 for 3-pointer last night. That's not like him, and that really hurt us in some ways. And then, of course, we're going to have to talk about this. There were 2 guys that played last night that didn't score, that looked out of place in the game last night. And this is really becoming a problem. I mean, we've been talking about the bench and these different issues with certain people and stuff like that. It is probably going to be a thing where we're going to really need them to either get it together by the end of the season and show some production, regular production that we can count on, because we can't count on them at all right now, or we're going to have to retool. Like a lot of you guys are calling out for that. We need to retool the bench. We're going to have to get better talent, better players, guys that are going to make their shot coming off the bench, because I don't even want to say their names right now, because I know one of them, first of all, one of them shouldn't have been in the starting lineup last night. It was his first game back from COVID protocols, and I don't understand why he was starting last night. Why did you start Yuta? You should have started Precious. Start Precious and put him on Jay Crowder right away. Put him on Jay Crowder right away, because Jay Crowder was killing us right away. And Precious was a much better matchup on Jay Crowder than somebody like Yuta Watanabe. And I feel bad that he missed all his shots. You saw him working hard. He was hustling, but he didn't look good last night. He didn't need to be starting in his first game back from COVID protocols. I totally disagreed with that move by Nick Nurse, and I thought that he did a disservice to Watanabe doing that to him. He should have waited and put him on the bench. He would have been much better even just starting Svi instead of Yuta. Either Svi or Precious should have been in the starting lineup. I would have picked Precious just because of what I said. Jay Crowder, he's such a good matchup for Jay Crowder as far as being able to keep up with him in the size and strength. But yeah, it is woulda, coulda, shoulda. And it's too bad, like, honestly, that both of our regular stars didn't get to play. Like, Gary and Scotty would have made a difference in this game last night. There were periods of time where we really needed a Gary Trent jump shot. And there were periods of time where we really needed Scotty Barnes' energy, enthusiasm out on the court. And he could have been a huge X factor in the game last night that might have put us over the top. So it'll be interesting when we go to Phoenix still. We have to play them again still in their building before the end of the season. Hopefully we'll have our full complement and we can get a win at that. But the one thing I will say about Phoenix, if they're the top team in the league and they have the #1 record right now, which they do, you know what, we can hang with them. And honestly, if we played a 7-game series against them, I think we would figure out how to win 4 out of those 7 games. That we would get a good game plan, that Nick Nurse and them would make an adjustment and they'd figure it out. And I think it has a lot to do with our aggressiveness on the boards and our energy and our hustle and things like that, and our defense. We could figure out a way to stop them and beat them. And it's really like that Milwaukee series in the Eastern Conference Finals in 2019. Once you figure out how to beat a team and you can do it over and over again, if they can't figure out how to adjust out of it, then you beat them. And I think the way that it looked last night with Phoenix Suns is that we could figure out a game plan and figure out a way where we could beat them and they can't do anything about it. It's just about like doing certain things defensively, making sure we have the right effort and execution. And obviously, we need to do better on offense, like shooting way better. Once again, last night was a weird night. Not only with the empty arena with nobody in there, but -10 degrees outside Celsius. And the whole outside in Toronto was like -20. Like, it was really cold last night. And I know that was a factor in the arena last night. It was just hard to stay warm. It's hard to stay get warm and get going in the game. And considering all that, you know, the way that the game played out and the high quality kind of game that we saw last night, back and forth, ties, leads, going back and forth, you know, that's a testament to these professionals to come out there and play in a very cold arena and make it heated up and give us some entertainment. And it is a travesty that game was not televised nationally in the United States last night. That is exactly the kind of product that the NBA should be putting on TV, because that was exciting, good basketball. And, you know, they really missed out. They should have put it on there. They really should have put it on there. All right, let's keep going. Callie, good morning. Good to see you again. I love the fight our guys gave last night. We beat them on the boards. Boy, did we beat them on the boards. We really beat them on the boards. I mean, statistically, let me see what the actual count was. It was 47-39. Yeah, that's pretty good. 8 more rebounds than them overall. But the real stat was the offensive rebounds. 22 offensive rebounds is insane. And like I was saying, it was that weird contingency. At one point, these guys just wouldn't let the ball go to Phoenix no matter what. And it was hilarious to watch. Like, it was just like a weird ball of like bodies underneath the basket. And it was like Shampetti, Precious, and Chris all mixed together amongst these Suns. And they, every time they got their hands on the ball before them. And that was just effort, hustle, positioning, and the fact that they did it so many times and that we got so many possessions on that one trip down the court was, to me, was just fantastic. It was hilarious because usually you only see like a second chance point and then the other team will get the defensive rebound. But if you see it twice, that's great. But when you see it 3 times on one possession, that is just pure work and hustle. And the fact that 3 different guys at the same time were crashing the boards and working like that, it was a beautiful thing to me. It was this guy right here, number 13, the JYD, Jerome Williams. He's all about hustle and heart. Like he is like a Rodman. He is a Rodman type guy. Chris Boucher, if you're watching me or somehow, some way, watch JYD also. Because JYD did a lot of the same stuff that Dennis did. Not at the same level of championship in some ways, but he did it for us. And he has a lot of great highlights and a lot of different skills that he did also that you should look into. These 3 jerseys, they symbolize 3 different things that I look for in a Raptors player. You got Muggsy on the end, the shortest player to ever play in the NBA. That's Tyrone Muggsy Bogues, 5'3". That's heart. Because that's a little guy who overcame the odds. That's what he symbolizes to me, is heart and the ability to overcome the odds. And that guy was an all-star, and he was a premier NBA talent for many, many years in the league at his height and what he did. And then you got JYD, who's hustle. That's all about hustle, energy, working hard too. And this is a Dennis Rodman spirit. That's a Chris Boucher spirit. JYD, Jerome Williams. And then in the middle, we got Alvin Williams, who's just been a dedicated Raptor guy. That's dedication. So we got heart, hustle, and dedication because Alvin was dedicated to the Raptors franchise before anybody else was. Vince wasn't dedicated to us like Alvin was. Alvin was dedicated to the Raptors franchise. So after a loss, you may see this wall behind me, and I may talk about one of these 3 jerseys in relation to why we lost. But last night, I can't say it was any one of these 3 because the heart, the hustle, and the dedication was all there. But yeah, I'm going to refer to them again in the future. So remember that. The 3 guardian spirits of the Raptors freak cult, Muggsy Bogues, JYD, and Alvin Williams. And that's heart, hustle, determination right there. Our dedication. All right, let me see. Let's keep going. I'm a fun guy. I'm so mad we lost. Oh my God. I'm happy they tried hard though. I was mad, but I wasn't mad. Like I knew it was going to be something like this. If it's close at the end, Phoenix is really good at closing the games out. Like their stats in the end of the game right now for plus minus and offensive and defensive rating in the last 5 minutes is insane. They're like number 1 in the league in all kinds of different ways. And that really is the directing of Chris Paul. He gets out there and he really does a really good job of controlling the game in different ways. And that on the down low was a big part of the battle between Paul and Van Vliet last night, is whose will and whose leadership and guidance can put their mark on the game the strongest. And Chris has been doing it a longer time. Chris is a master. And even though Fred scored more than him, Chris, in a way, was directing things more in the 4th quarter. And it was a lot of different things. It was whether helping the guys on defense. I mean, he did a really good job, Chris Paul, last night. He got these open dribble into the lane, his short shot. He'd get those when he needed to keep them going. He did a lot of the things that Kyle Lowry does normally. Just Chris Paul wins that. He wins that just because of experience accrued and just knowing what he's doing. And plus, the other thing about this Suns team is they're very tight right now. Like they have a good vibe on their team right now, just like we do. They're a band of brothers, and they're all for one for all musketeers, and they're really tight. There's no problems on this team with personalities. Like there's other good top teams that had these problems, but the Suns aren't one of them. And that's why I'm like, I think they're really scary. But once again, the problem for the Suns is going to be, when are they going to have to see Scott Foster as a referee in the playoffs? That's going to be the problem for them in some ways. Yeah, that's going to be the referee when they have to play with Scott Foster reffing. Then it'll be a problem. Callie's saying Devin looked like a big baby. Not a good look for him. He did look like a baby when he had Get him out of here. That whole thing was so funny with the Raptor. After the game, when they had the press conference, they asked him. He's like, "Nah, we're good. We made up. We talked about it." Like, what? Really? You need to go and talk to the Raptor and make sure you're cool with him, or the Raptor needs to make sure he's cool with him. We don't care if you're cool with the Raptor. The Raptor doesn't need to be cool with you. In fact, I'd rather you guys aren't cool, that there is some animosity still. Like, maybe the Raptor should have been more like, putting on his big boy pants and saying, "No, you can't tell me to get out of here," or something. What, you're going to throw our mascot out of our building, refs? Come on, next time. I want to see the Raptors stand up to them and say no. And just sit down in the seat and just do it and mess with him still. Because honestly, we're already at a disadvantage because we don't have our fans in the arena. You're going to take our mascot out of it too? He's the only thing we got. Oh my gosh. But yeah, he was being a real diva. And you can tell he's dating a Jenner. You can tell he's dating one of these Kardashian Jenner people. So yeah. Okay, let's keep going. Raymond Jacob. Diva was playing on our home court. Aren't we allowed to distract him on the line? I would think so. That's what I'm saying. That's what made me so mad. It's such a sterile environment already. I guess because it is so quiet and nothing's there, that the Raptor is just first and foremost there. Like, you can't not see him because there's nothing else there. And if he's being funny, he's a really funny, naturally funny guy. He's a master of physical comedy. If he's doing something over there to mess him up, I love that. Let him do that. We need this advantage. NBA, Adam Silver, you need to help the Raptors out. We had to play in Tampa for a year. Now we don't have fans and everybody else has fans. Let our mascot be our one thing that we can have that can help us. I know he may be really effective at messing up people's free throws, though, but it's so stupid. It is such a dumb side story to this game last night, but I love it. I love that the Raptors become part of this, and a lot of people are talking about this today. The Raptor versus Devin Booker. I love it. I love it. Tom Duke, Colin, ceiling is high for our squad. And we know we can beat the top teams like the Suns. Haha, Diva Booker getting whiny. I really do believe this. Like, honestly, this was a litmus test to see where we stand with good teams, and we're there. We're with them. We're with them. And that's not even at full strength. Like, honestly, we're missing two really important players last night that would have really helped us in this game. And who knows, woulda, coulda, shoulda, woulda happened. But we hung with them. They didn't blow us out. We hung with them. And actually, we had a good chance to win that game last night. Like, we had the lead in the fourth quarter. There were different things we could have done better or easier. And it's really interesting that Monty Williams employed the foul, give them only 2 shots with the 3-point margin over them thing, because that's really is kind of very smart, especially when we have Fred VanVleet out on the court. But it really dragged out the last couple minutes of the game just because of the stop and foul, stop, foul, stop, foul, so much of that at the end of the game. And honestly, our free throw shooting was so bad. If we had just made 5 of those free throws that we missed of the 10, like just half of the misses we made them, that would have really had a huge impact at the end of the game. So it sucks. And you know what? I don't know if Nick Nurse still does this or some coaches in the league do this, but they used to fine players for missing free throws. And I don't know, you can make some sort of thing to dissuade them or try and get them to make them for sure, because you want to give them some sort of impetus or some sort of reasons. Like, yeah, you're going to have to pay $50 into the missed free throws pile. I know that's not enough, but something like that. I don't know. There's got to be some sort of punishment, not a punishment, but just something that isn't fun or has to happen if you miss free throws. And maybe you run suicides in the next practice because you missed a certain amount of free throws or something like that. I really think that they should do that again, because honestly, we've seen different kinds of free throw shooting from Pascal when he's 10 for 10 in the last game. And then last night, he missed a few. I know he did. He was 2 for 4. He missed half his free throws last night. So that's a big part of why we lost, is these free throws, honestly. Let's keep going. Kenny, good morning, man. Glad to see you as always. Boucher was a beast. It was Siakam foul trouble that was costly just when we were about to pull away. You know what? That is a good point, Kenny. You're talking about that foul that Pascal got. He got a foul early that put him at 5, and we had to take him out for a period of time, and he was just starting to cook. He was just starting to get going, and we had to make a tough decision. And honestly, that he did foul him technically on that 3-point shot. He hit his hand, so it was actually a foul. So it sucks. But in some ways, they swallow the whistle on that kind of stuff, or in different places and different things. And the refs were pretty good to us last night. Like Rodney Mott is a great ref. I love Rodney Mott. He's one of the senior refs that I actually love and respect. And when I see Rodney Mott running the game, I trust that it's going to be run pretty well, because he was very fair with the challenges and different things that happened. The whole way that they called that foul back on Booker when he kicked his leg out, that was fantastic. And that was the right call. And other refs in the league wouldn't have done that. They wouldn't have changed the call to an offensive foul. They would have just kept it with the way it was with OG or whoever that was in that play. And then the one at the half court, the other challenge with OG and him trying to get the loose ball, he fouled OG, and they called the right call there too. And both of these calls favored us. And so I'm very happy about that, because in other ref crews, they might have not done that for us. They might have done some bullshit and interpreted it a different way. Like OG could have gotten the foul in that situation, because it was very gray. The area was gray when they were both going for that ball at half court. So I'm not mad at the refs last night. I thought the refs did a good job overall, but it was unfortunate that Pascal got saddled with 5 fouls at a very important time in the second half when we were trying to get a good lead. Like, because I think you're right, Kenny. If he had stayed in the game at that point, we might have gone on a little mini run and gotten like maybe a double-digit lead going into the fourth quarter. And it's too bad. It is what it could have, should have, and it just happened that way. But, maybe that Pascal needs to watch out with his fouls in certain ways. And, he may have gotten some bad fouls earlier too that caused that to be more of an issue at that point. But yeah, Boucher was a beast. I love what Boucher is doing right now. He oh my gosh, he's playing so good. Let's keep going. Let's see. I'm a fun guy. I don't even think Raptors will let Boucher hit free agency, and they shouldn't. They shouldn't. This is what I'm saying. I've been saying it all year. When we've been down on him at different times, it's like, don't give up on Chris. He's a unique talent in this league, and he's just figuring it out. And now that he's decided his role is going to be as a bad boy off the bench, energy hustle guy like Dennis Rodman, he said it specifically. He's watching Dennis Rodman clips. He's trying to be like him. If you notice, when he pulls some of the rebounds down, he's doing that little Rodman like shimmy with his elbow that Rodman used to do when he brought him down. He's doing mannerisms that Dennis Rodman used to do when he played now in his game. I saw them. That whole play when he threw the ball off the Suns player when it was going out of bounds, that's a Dennis Rodman play. That whole play when he was tangling up with DeAndre Ayton down low and DeAndre hit him in with the elbow in the head, that's a Dennis Rodman play, because he's being a pest on him, and DeAndre came around, hit him in the elbow, and he got a foul for it. And, that's the thing. If Chris gets really good at this and he understands what Dennis used to do, he's going to be able to put guys on the other team in foul trouble. Like, we could pinpoint him. Like, if Nick really wants to open up this box with Chris, he could start saying, Chris, I want you to target this big guy to get foul trouble tonight, and see if Chris can go out there and work his magic. Like, just get out there and be a physical pest, because he's so wiry and long. He can kind of avoid some of the physicality and get around it and get to the ball and tip it. And that was part of what Dennis did, was he was a pogo stick. He could get up in the air faster than anybody off of his toes, and he could do it over and over again. He jumped like 4 or 5 times and tipped the ball 4 or 5 times up in the air until he got it in the right place to get to somebody. And if Chris is going with that mentality and with that length, he's going to be able to do that a lot. And we see Kem Birch doing it all the time with tips and tipping it back out to Fred at the top of the key and stuff like that. We have Chris out there doing the same thing, except he's more mobile and active and just trying to go get it. It's going to be nasty. Like, seriously, this is a huge turn of events. What's happening with Chris Boucher and his mentality and the fact that he wants to be Dennis Rodman 2022, then, this could be a big game changer for the Raptors and their role players and the different kinds of things we're able to do defensively because of this. Chris Boucher, he's starting to be Dennis Rodman. So just as long as he leaves some of the extracurriculars that Dennis used to do out of it, just do the on play and the mentality, the attitude. That's good. Oh, yeah. Let's keep going. Yeah, seriously, I think we do need to keep Boucher. He had a great birthday. They didn't win, but you know what? Honestly, it was such a love fest for him. It was such a birthday fest for him. And I love the announcers talking about it and stuff. And you could tell he was so happy. Like, you see him, he looked into the camera at one point, smiled into the camera. Like, he knew where the camera was, and he looked up at the camera and he smiled at it. I love that. It's partly a show. And that is partly what happens when you play like Rodman. It becomes a show. It becomes a little WCW Monday Nitro. Oh, yeah, it does. If you're going to go that route, it's going to be like, Chris, you're going to need to watch Dennis on Monday Nitro with Hulk Hogan, with Hollywood Hogan, and see those old NWO days with the Rodzilla also. That's important library to watch to get the full character of who Dennis was and what he's doing. You got to see him in wrestling. Okay. You got to see him with the spray can painting NWO on people's backs with Hulk Hogan. Okay, Callie, I love Chris. So happy to see him succeed. Yes, isn't it? Isn't it? And it's weird because he's not succeeding in the way that we initially intended at the beginning of the year. We all expected him to come back and be Trebuchet, the 3-point catapult, all over again like he used to be, but that's not who he is anymore. Now, the three-pointer is still there. It's not as good as it used to be, but he can get that trick back in his bag once again at some point. I'll bet you. But right now, if he's just going to focus on rebounding, defense, energy, and hustle, getting loose balls and stuff like that, I'm all for it. I'm all for it. If you have a guy like him with his body frame doing that, I mean, he has some things over Dennis that Dennis didn't have. Obviously, the height is much better than Dennis's height, and the arms in some ways are way longer. So he is really, it's very intriguing. I just want to see more of Chris the Worm Boucher. I want to see Chris the Worm Boucher out there a lot more and see what's going to happen with this. Oh, yeah. Tom Duke, can't even think we would be in any game if we shoot 20% from 21% from three. Yes. Yes, there's different things that have been happening with our team where we shouldn't be anywhere near winning, but we are because of like the weird mix of our team. It's all about offensive rebounds, steals, turnovers, causing turnovers, and getting easy baskets. But we may shoot completely horrible. We may shoot a whole bunch more than the other team, but we're getting all these rebounds and more shot chances. And that's really we've been doing this all season, honestly. But, we just shoot a little bit better. In general, we're a better team. And it could be that we have to upgrade our bench this offseason, get better role players off the bench. And I think that our guys could do it if they were succeeding, but they're not. They're having horrible trouble right now. Certain guys off the bench are having a horrible time right now. And I don't like it. I don't like seeing it. And they are dragging us down when they're out there because they're not looking good. They're missing shots and they're getting exposed by the other team defensively. Like that strip by Crowder on Svi Mihalik was not good last night. That was not a good play. And, there were other things that happened last night, things that happened with Yuta, things that happened with Svi. Those two guys in particular, they just not have a good game last night. And I feel bad for them. So, all right, let's keep going. I'm a fun guy. The Raptor mascot pulling in 6-figure salary at least. Ooh, I'll bet. Wow. If he is making 6 figures, he deserves it. Honestly, this guy is a talent. He's a talent. And the Raptor mascot, like I said, he's a great dude, the real person. I don't know his name and I don't know his picture. I don't want to know in some ways. But like I said, I had an ex-girlfriend that worked at a mascot company that sold mascot suits or rented them out to people, and he was a regular client. He came in and talked to her all the time, wanting specialty clothing for his mascot outfit for the Raptor games. He would they would be selling him like the little tuxedo tie shirt that he would wear over his thing and stuff like that. And he was going to get us tickets, but he never did. He told her that he was going to. He was like, "I'll get you tickets to the next game," but he never did. Raymond Jacob, hope those TVs don't land on someone's head. What TVs? Are you talking about SCTV? I love that show where they throw all the TVs out the window. That is such a Toronto thing, man. SCTV with John Candy and Eugene Levy throwing the TVs out the window at the beginning intro. I love that show. I don't know if that's the reference you're talking about, but that's what I think of when I hear TVs coming out of the window. If any TVs are going out the window because of the way the game happened or anything last night, they shouldn't, because honestly, we should be proud of our guys. We wanted the W, but we were due for a loss. And of course, it's the best team in the league. It's tough. In some ways, like Grange wrote an article, or somebody wrote an article this morning talking about how this loss last night may be more important than the wins in the six game winning streak. That how we played against the top level team showed more in some ways than the games we've actually won recently. So very interesting. Marlon Toby, good morning, everyone. Good morning, Marlon. Good to see you as always. Great game. I enjoyed it. Let's stay focused. Dwayne Casey and the Pistons on Friday. They just beat the healthy Utah Jazz. Charlotte just pulled in the 7th spot. Yeah, they're half game ahead of us now. It is what it is. We're not going to be able to control everything with what's happening around us, but as long as the curve is on the upward swing with winning 3 out of 4 games, every 4 games that we get, that's going to make us move up no matter what. Trust me. Like if we can win 75% of our games, And this was just one of the ones we lost. And if you think about it, we're 6-1 for the for this, or 5-1 for this calendar year so far. That's pretty good. So, like I said, this 5-game road trip coming up right now, win 3 out of the 5, get 4 out of the 5 if we can. That's what I really hope we can do. And it's going to be tough. We got Milwaukee, we got Miami, we got Dallas. All these games are in the middle of this road trip, and it'll be very interesting. But you're right. Dwayne Casey, Friday night, he's a Raptor killer. He wants to beat us. He has a vendetta against us. Casey's revenge, and we need to always play really, really tough against the Pistons. Now, one of the things that may be interesting about the Detroit game on Friday is it's in Detroit, and our people travel. Our people travel well. I don't know what's going on with the border restrictions, but because we can't have anybody at our normal building, maybe we need to get a big Raptors contingency there for Friday night. And we go to the Palace of Auburn Hills, or whatever they're calling it now these days, and we fill that place up and make it more of a Raptors building. So we may not have our regular home court right now, home court A, but we could go get home court B across the border at Windsor. So any Raptor fans that are in Southern Ontario, or even Raptor fans that are on the other side of the border already in Detroit, y'all go to the game on Friday night, and let's get a home crowd for once. In the middle of this month that we don't have any home crowd for us at games at home, maybe we can actually have a home crowd in Detroit on Friday night. So let's see if anybody can jump the border, get some buses together, and get some fans over there, over in Detroit side, because the rules are different, and we probably can go to that game. So think about that. Anybody, this is enough days ahead. Think about it. 2 days ahead. Get it together. If you can get across the border and it works for you, go to that game, because it could really help us, because we have been able to turn that building into a Raptor building and not a Piston building. So let's see. Okay, Raymond Jacob. Casey hates the Raps, and he turns it up 100%. Yes. Oh, yeah, he wants to beat us every single time. We need to spank them good. I totally agree. I'm a fun guy. Detroit hasn't been a kryptonite. I'm a bit scared. Yeah, it's Casey. It's Casey. All he has to do is, at the beginning of the game, pregame, he has to say, this team motherfucking turned me. I wouldn't coach the year, and then they fired me within the same month. They ungrateful. Do this for me, guys. Get out there and beat their ass for me, for coach. It's do one for the Gipper kind of thing there. That it really motivates these guys. You can tell the Detroit guys get up because they want to do it for coach. And that is the kryptonite right there. It's doing it for coach with Detroit. Yeah. Tom Duke saying, good point. Why did we start Yuta? I did not make sense to me at all. It didn't make any sense. I thought that he might even not play last night because of conditioning protocols. Like, just because he just came out of COVID protocols, sometimes usually they say, oh, he's got conditioning, and then maybe not even play, or even just play a very short stint in the game. Like, maybe he should have done what Svi did last night. Just get one little stint off the bench for a little bit of time, and that's it. But I really disagreed with that. I thought Precious should have started, and we should have started big. It would have been Kem and Precious and Pascal and OG at the shooting guard. Yeah, OG at the shooting guard. That's what I wanted. I think that's part of what he was worried about, chasing guys around. But, I mean, if you put OG out there, he's automatically on Devin Booker then. Because, you got Fred on Chris, you got OG on Booker, which he was doing last night, and then Pascal on the Bridges, and then you have Precious for Crowder. And that was a big part. Crowder had a huge first half, and we didn't get to him the right way. Like, we were not covering him the right way. And his veteran wiliness actually really messed us up. He was doing different things as a vet that messed us up last night. I didn't like. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know if it was pressure from the Japanese fans. Akiko's such an interesting reporter. She always in the press conference. She's always asking about Yuta to Nick Nurse, and always pertains to Yuta. And I understand that, and it's important. That's great. Like, honestly, they really keep a close eye on what's happening with Yuta over there, and they want him to do major things. But I don't think it was that. I think that Nick wanted to start him because he had started games early in the season. I think maybe he thought something about the matchup with the Suns would be really good, but it didn't look like Yuta was ready to be back. It didn't. No, it did not look like he was ready to be back. His conditioning wasn't right. And, his shot didn't look good at all, like at times either. So it is what it is. We'll see what happens. He does have a lot of fans, and he should. It's really interesting because, listen, there haven't been very many players from Japan that have made the NBA. There's been players from China. There's been players from other Asian countries and stuff like that, like Korea. But there hasn't been many Japanese players that have made the league. There's a couple in the league right now. But in the history of the NBA, it's hard for me to think of many Japanese players. So this is a big deal to the country of Japan. To have Yuta is maybe the greatest Japanese NBA player ever in the history of their country. So that's maybe a huge reason why what this is going on here, because he really is. Let's see. When fans are allowed, they need to dress like the mascot against the Suns. That's so funny. I remember in the beginning of the Raptors franchise, they had one of the first items that you could buy as a fan was this Raptor head. It was foam, and you could put it over your head, and it had a big opening where you could put your head. Yeah, we'll get a bunch of those old school inaugural Raptor heads that they sold at Raptor games, where all the fans, the little kids, would be wearing red Raptor heads on their heads. We could get those back, and we could actually do what you're talking about, G. That's hilarious, though. That is hilarious. We need to troll Devin Booker all the time. Like, maybe there needs to be some sort of like in-game ops funny little skit the next time Phoenix is here next year with the Raptor and Devin Booker. Like, maybe he's calling him on the phone or something, like, or some sort of just funny little thing, like where he's messing with him. And they don't even need to really get Devin Booker. Just find some footage of him involved in something and just slice it together so it makes sense with the Raptor, and it could be really funny. So in-game ops, I'm giving you all ideas for next year. It could be really hilarious for when Phoenix comes to Toronto next year. Marlon Toby, we need a game closer bad, a Kawhi Leonard, DeMar DeRozan type bucket getter. Champagny and Chris hustled last night for rebounds over Ayton and Biyombo, and it frustrated Phoenix. We really did. We out-rebounded them. We played so good rebounding. That period of time I'm talking about where it was a feeding frenzy with Precious, Justin, and Chris out there at the same time, all three of them crashing the boards over and over again, not just going at it once. I mean, that was just amazing. Honestly, that whole sequence, that possession down the court was amazing when they got 4 shots because they offensive rebounded 3 times. It was so good. But the other thing you're saying about the game closer, well, this is the thing. I don't think we got a figurehead one guy like a DeMar or a Kawhi. It's just going to have to be try different guys at different places, whether it's Pascal one time, Fred one time, Gary one time, OG one time. Because actually, all of these guys have hit clutch in different games in their history. Whether it's Gary winning a game for us last year, we got to think about Pascal laying it up against Phoenix a couple years ago and winning a game at the last second. Fred's obviously clutch at different times if we really need him to be, but he's being keyed on right now by other teams. He's not allowed to get free because they're really keying on him. And then we know OG can hit a big shot too, because think about the bubble against the Celtics and him hitting that big 3-point shot to put us into overtime and stuff like that. So they're there. It's just that sometimes they're masked or sometimes they're held down. And Phoenix did a really good job of holding down Fred. And then obviously Pascal fouled out. Pascal fouled out in that last little bit of time in the middle of those free throw shot flurries back and forth. But we weren't getting loosened up or freed to make good shots at the end of the game last night. Phoenix does a really good job of closing out on defense at the end of games. And that's just like us. Like, we were stifling on defense at certain times last night. We did perfect defense on one of the best offenses in the NBA. We absolutely stopped them at different times with our defense when it was working absolutely perfectly. And I love seeing that because that means we can do that to a lot of really good offensive teams. But we just need to be perfect the whole time through. And we need to execute. Obviously, we need to hit our open shots. And there were a lot of open shots last night that didn't go down at different periods, at different points in the game. And that was a huge problem last night, is missing shots, missing free throws, missing 3-pointers, open 3-pointers that they should have made. So that all that stuff was tough. Let's keep going. Tom Duke, Marlon, can a current Raptor fill that void? I hope so. I think so. Like I just said, I think it's a bunch of different guys. It's just we can't figure that it's going to be the same guy. And in a way, it may be better if it's a lot of different guys they have to worry about in those kind of situations. Like if they know, okay, Gary could do it, Fred could do it, and hopefully even Scotty gets into this picture that I'm just naming these guys. All 5 of the starters could be clutch and win a game for us. And that will be a strength in itself. Other than, like, we have DeMar DeRozan, and we know that he's going to take the shot and he's going to get double teamed and he's going to have to make some sort of super heroic 3-pointer over 2 defenders, like against Washington. That that's not very reliable. And that's just a testament to DeMar's hard work and the way that he always wanted to take hard shots with the guys all over him and make them. But, we don't have a guy like that. But we have enough guys that can be clutch and hit a big shot when it matters at the end of the game. And I know it's all 5 of our starters. Scotty just hasn't revealed it yet. And we know the other guys can all do it. We've seen them do it. It's just that they got to do it consistently. And it's not really there was a chance for failure last night. There wasn't really a shot last night where we were like, oh, my gosh, if that shot had gone in. There wasn't any of that at the end of the game just because of the fouls and back and forth and the dumb stuff that happened with that, which is too bad. Yeah, Tom's saying it right there. Fred has closed a few lately. That's definitely true. Fred has closed a few games lately. Even Pascal, to a degree, has been a part of closing the game out and making sure that we win. Okay, Raymond Jacob. No, the Raptor mascot dropping TVs down the aisle. Oh, yeah. Yeah, this is a gimmick he's done many times, because if you look in the highlights of they showed him last night in between in timeout, all of his oopsies, as they put it, the Raptors oopsies. And there was one where there's an old one with the old kind of style TV, a tube TV. Where he takes he has in the box and it drops out of the bottom of the box, and it's like a big clunky tube TV, like before the HD TVs, and it just rolls down, and that you can tell that's from the 90s. But then he did it updated with the HD TV, and that one was so funny to me because he's like, you want a TV, and he's bringing it down the stairs, and he trips, and the TV goes flying out onto the stairs and just like breaks. That is so funny to me. When I first saw that clip, it just cracked me up so much. I was like, man, this is just good comedy. It's like, it's so hilarious. Like when he messes stuff up like that. Anyway, yeah. I hope they don't land on anybody's head. Honestly, that could have been something that could happen. I mean, he's in a costume. His sight is probably not totally perfect. So he really probably, for like safety reasons, he really had to make sure that TV landed on the middle concourse, and I mean the aisle coming down. Oh my gosh. Callie, I'm rooting for Svi. Believe he has talent, hustle, and just a matter of time before he goes off. Yeah, me too. I mean, I know Nick Nurse has a deep affinity for this guy, and he really wants him to succeed with us, and I think he will. It's just like anything, or you ups and downs, and he's just having a down like right now, and in some ways we need to use him in a different way. Maybe maybe he needs to be with that group with Delano and Flynn, but he needs to be maybe just a little bit like him, and Justin should be getting about the same amount of time to me right now. Like Justin is playing phenomenal. He's definitely a rotation player, but I think Svi should still be in the regular rotation and play in every game. But maybe he does only get like 7 minutes. Like that's what he got last night. Like maybe he played just the amount he needed to play last night, but he didn't have any success. So he didn't get any kind of second try in the second half. He came out in the first half. He didn't look good, so he didn't get another run in the second half. And the same thing with Yuta. He played in the first half, and then he didn't really play at all in the second half. And these guys just weren't effective. They weren't effective out there. They didn't do enough, and they didn't look good out there at all. Anyway, all right, guys, we're right at an hour. Close game. No shame in losing to the best record in the league. Show we could hang with them. We showed that we have some success over them. When we play them again in Phoenix, it will be very interesting to see. Hopefully we have our whole team and we can see what we adjusted from this game to the next game in Phoenix and how we can handle them. And maybe we can have a better outcome in this one. Oh, yeah. All right, guys. Like, comment, subscribe, share. Thanks for being with me this morning. I appreciate you all. Tom, Raymond, Callie, G, Kenne, Sue, Paul, everybody, Starscream, everybody who ever comes and sees this crazy stream that I do every morning live. All right. Let's go Raptors. Tomorrow, guys, 9:30 a.m. sharp. I will be here right on the dot at 9:30 a.m. sharp for Raptors trivia. It's the next game, y'all, and I'll figure out what the category is this afternoon. And so brush up on your Raptors stats and who's the leaders in different things in different categories, and then you'll have an advantage tomorrow, and you can try and take down G, because G is the G of all Raptors Freak trivias. He is the G. So 9:30 a.m. tomorrow Eastern sharp. I'll be there. Let's see what Click said, real quick. I want to see. Very proud of the effort. We made one of the best teams in the league look mediocre. I love the effort despite the outcome. Time to get another win streak on this road trip. Yeah, that's the exact right response to last night. is not get down on the guys, talk about how they're crappy or this kind of stuff. We could say that about Svi and Yuta a bit, but we shouldn't, because in a way, Yuta got thrown into fire and Svi, he's still slumping. So, but anyway, Click 2 AM. The Lakers are interested in Gary Trent Jr. We ain't giving him up. The Lakers are hot garbage. I don't even want to talk about rumors or trade talk and stuff like that. They're going to make up so much stuff about Scotty Barnes in the next couple of years. Let's just cut it off at the head of the snake right now. Like, if they start wanting and enticed to get our guys, whatever, whether it's Pascal, Fred, Gary, Scotty, any of them, OG, they all want them. They want all of our guys because all of our guys are good pros and they're developing and they're getting better and better. But yeah, Lakers, keep wanting and just go ahead and get your old agent all-stars and keep adding them. Oh, yeah. Nurse should replace Yuta's minutes with Justin Champagne. Yeah, I can't disagree with that. All right, guys, let's go Raptors. Let's beat the Pistons. Got to beat Coach Casey. We can't let him get his revenge over and over again against us. And let's send some Raptor fans across the border and get a home court feel with some fans of ours in the stands for once, because we can do that in Detroit. Oh, yeah, we can. All right, y'all. I'll see y'all tomorrow, 9:30 sharp. Right at 9:30, there will be trivia. So please show up and get some points. It's going to be fun.